This cost of living squeeze is still with us, but it's a bit less intense than it was. Inflation is falling, but, says Chancellor Jeremy Hunt, we're sticking to our plan, and that plan involves interest rate rises, trying to squeeze those price rises out of the economy. Let's have a look at the numbers. The Consumer Price Index, it was 7.9% up in June 2023 compared to June the year before. That's down quite significantly from May 2023. Inflation now is lower than many people expected, and it's important that it's psychologically below that 8% level, but it is still 4 times the Bank of England's target, and by international standards, UK inflation is high. Our 7.9% number for June compares to an average of 5.5% across the Eurozone, continental Europe, and US inflation there, an enviable 3%, not least because our American cousins have got much lower energy prices than us. What's driving UK inflation? It's still those pesky food prices, as shoppers know well. 18.3% food price inflation in May, still 17.3% in June. And many of us think in the real world, food prices are going up much faster than that. No wonder the Competition and Markets Authority has got an inquiry going into those food price rises, an inquiry the government is watching closely. Core inflation. Nerdy economists like me focus on core inflation. It's inflation when you strip out things like energy prices and food, which are often imported, exposing the underlying price pressures in the economy. Well, core inflation has not gone down very much at all. It was 7.1% in May. That was a 30-year high, and it's still 6.9%. Those people on the Bank of England's Monetary Policy Committee who want to raise interest rates more, they will point to that number again and again. So what is going to happen on interest rates? The Monetary Policy Committee next meets on the 3rd of August. Rates are currently 5%, having gone up 13 times since the end of 2001. They could go up again to 5.25% or even 5.5%, but the fact that inflation is lower than people are expected in June means there is now a debate about whether or not those interest rate rises will happen. In general, though, we remain an inflation nation here in the UK. Mortgage rates are set to rise further, I'm afraid, but I've put in a question mark. Why? Because the Bank of England may not raise interest rates now at the beginning of August, and what we call the gilt market, where the government sells its debt, those gilt yields have come down steeply this morning, suggesting that the markets are starting to doubt whether the Bank of England will make a move. For savers, this higher interest rate environment is good news, but only if those higher rates are passed on by the banks, which doesn't always happen very quickly. So here we are in the middle of this cost of living squeeze, inflation nation UK. We aren't complacent, says Jeremy Hunt. High prices are still a huge worry. They certainly are, not least for the Tory party.